Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shayla, and I'm here to bring you all of the books that we did for the Gather Round Homeschool Space Unit. Now, let me just preface this by saying you don't have to be using Gather Round Homeschool to get these books. These are all supplementary. So if you're doing some other kind of space unit or you just want to see what we've got going on over in this house, then you're welcome to join us as well. I've got a whole stack of books. So what I might do is break this up into two parts just so that the video is not too long. And then I've also broken this up by lesson. So you can, like, every lesson has a particular topic. And then there are some that kind of just cover space in general. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Because I got so many books, let me just say this. Because I got so many books, I only put out what we were going to use for the week. So we only go through 4 lessons a week. So I only put out those books and I just save the other ones, hide them in my room. And then it's like new gifts every single Monday. So the first lesson in the space unit is just an introduction to astronomy. So this book right here does a great job. These are essentially just like satellite pictures that form shapes of a letter. So like here, obviously that's the letter A, and a bunch of really cool things here. You see the B. Oops, you see the B here, C, and it just goes through and it's got some really cool pictures. So the kids had a good time looking at that. In the back of the book, you will see a description kind of where and when the picture was taken. It's got the date and a little bit of information there as well. The next lesson was on galaxies. So this book right here, The Secret of the Galaxy, this is by, it's a nature book by Fran Hodgkins. The photographs were by Mike Taylor. And again, these are lots of photographs that were taken. Here's a good page to show. And it's got little blurbs of information. So here's a page about the Death Star. They really like these pages of the starscapes. I don't know, is that what it's called? Starscape? I don't know. Also, I wanted to mention that my kids are new 8-year-old, 6, 4, and 3. So that gives you a reference for the age kids that I have. The next lesson is on the sun. So I got several books for that particular lesson. The first one is a true book called The Sun. It's a nonfiction book. I'm sure you guys have seen these. These are by Scholastic with lots of information about the sun. Lots of really cool pictures. It's got timelines in here as well. How the sun works. It's set up like a chapter book, but I mean, we just kind of read some pages out of it. We didn't really read the whole thing because it's a lot of information for little kids. The next book that I got is called The Sun is Kind of a Big Deal. As you can see, Mr. Sun has on some sunglasses, so my kids enjoyed this one. And it goes through and explains what happens around the sun, how the planets revolve around the sun. It also gives you a little bit of information about all the other planets and how it relates. But I really like this book because the colors are vibrant. The personification, as we learned within the space unit, is really cool. I just really like, you know, the illustrations. They're really cute. So my kids really liked this book. The next couple of lessons are Mercury and Venus. I didn't have any books specifically for those lessons, but I did get some, like I said, some general books that they could read as well. So I'll show you a couple of those. The first one is Space Boy and his sister is crossed out, Space Boy and his dog. This is a boy who wanted to go to space and his sister wanted to go and he said no, but she ended up on the rocket anyway. My kids really like this one, especially the boys. They're always into animals and of course the moon. This was a good one for my 8-year-old and my 6-year-old to read. They really like picture books. Now this one it has chapters, but they're like only a few pages long. So that's that. And then I got another book Fly Guy, which is pretty popular these days. Fly Guy and the Aliens. My oldest, Josiah, he's 8. He just turned 8. And he really enjoyed reading this story about aliens. It's a boy thing, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a little kid thing. But nonetheless, they really enjoyed this story. Now, let's move on to lesson number 6, which is the Earth. I got one book. This one, The Reason for the Seasons. And this book goes through and explains why we have seasons. And of course, we know it's because the Earth is tilted on its axis as it rotates around the sun. So this gives a really good explanation of how and why we have seasons here on Earth. And who doesn't love seasons? I wonder. Let me know in the comments, what temperature is it today as you're watching this video? Right now, it's sunny, it's fall. Most of the trees are gone, and most of the leaves are gone off the trees. And it's pretty windy today, actually, kind of abnormally windy. We are supposed to get a lot of snow this year. In true 2020 style, we're probably going to have a blizzard. Like, I would not be surprised. Anyway, I digress. The next lesson number 7 is the moon. Now, of course, I've got tons of things on the moon. And I'm just going to try to go through them as quickly as possible so that we can get on with the show. This book is called Molly Mack, and this is about Molly, who is going to a field trip on the Space Center, and she just completely thinks that they're actually going to space, but they're not, obviously. And so she comes up with this plan to try to get to outer space because she loves space so much. This is a chapter book. It is, I'll tell you how many pages, 51 pages, and the chapters are 2 to 3 pages each. So a really good read for that kind of upper elementary school age. My son really liked this book. Who does not love Magic School Bus? There's a Magic School Bus book for everything under the sun. So we've got Magic School Bus takes a moonwalk. And so, of course, Miss Frizzle takes her class to the moon. And what's his name? Is it Ralphie? Who's the one that's always scared? I forget his name. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about, the redhead one. He's always like, I should have stayed home today. And so the whole gang is here. They all take their steps on the moon. The next book that I got is called Maisy's Moon Landing. Now this one was obviously more so for my 3 and 4-year-old. They really like this book. And of course, the reason why is because we've got some really nice 3D action all up and through this book. This is about how the rocket takes off to the moon. The next book that I have here is Field Trip to the Moon by John Hare. And this one actually does not have any words. It's all pictures. And so this is about a boy who they all take a field trip to the moon, and he ends up getting left by his class, but then he meets some aliens and they end up having a good time. And of course the teacher comes back to find him. But it's really cool, watching the kids use their imagination and just asking hey, what's happening now? What do you think is going to happen next? So my kids really liked this one. All right, here we go. So the next book is called There Was an Astronaut Who Swallowed the Moon. This is a scholastic book. It's actually a pretty easy read. It has a lot of the same sentences over and over again, so it kind of helps with the repetition. This one was really good for my 6-year-old. And it looks, as you can see, I'll try to get up close there. The pictures are kind of grainy. It looks like they were drawn, maybe colored in with pencil or pen. And so a little different than your typical type of illustrations. Now, the next couple of books, there's 2 more about the moon. These are special to me because I'm a person of color, and I really love the story of Hidden Figures. The movie, I loved it, and it's just really nice to see some representation for my kids, to see representation of minorities, Black, and people of color who have gone to outer space. If you don't know the story of Hidden Figures, it is the story of 4 Black women who actually helped the United States to get to the moon. They were mathematicians, and so we got this book to share that story with our kids. I thought about showing them the movie, but we decided against it, maybe in the future for my older 2. So we've got this one, and then we've got this, Counting on Katherine, and this is the specific story of Katherine Johnson and how she was able to help save Apollo 13. So she was also a part of the Hidden Figures. And so really, really, really great reads. I'll just show you really quickly on the inside. And I really love math, so this is like kind of my jam. But there's some pictures in there, so love to see it. The next lesson, which is lesson number 8, is on Mars. I've got one book, Mousetronaut Goes to Mars. So, and I also got the original Mousetronaut book. Where is it? As well, I got this. This is the original story. And then this is Mousetronaut Goes to Mars. So I got both of those. Lesson number 9 is on asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. I got one book for that lesson, and that is Oh No Astro. This is by Matt Roser, illustrated by Brad Woodard. And this is about an asteroid who ends up falling to the Earth, as you can see. And so my kids really like that. My 6-year-old is the artist of the family, and so he likes seeing the planets with faces on them. He thinks they're that's really funny. And so he really liked this book. As you can see, he's rolling, humiliating because he's like tumbling around in space. So we really like that book. The next lessons are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the dwarf planets. I didn't really get any books on those. Then we've got the history of space exploration. We've got life as an astronaut and rockets. So let's go through actually, I'm going to stop here because I feel like this is just a good place to stop. Stay tuned for the next one so you can get a glimpse of all the rest of the books that we did. And also stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell so that you can get a review of the actual unit and how everything went, along with all the activities that we did with this unit. That was a lot. That was a mouthful. Thank you. If you stuck around this long, I'm so glad that you did. Don't forget, hiding is overrated, and I will see you in the next video.